Good morning, Unity. Morning meditation, Unity. Okay, basics, just basics. Find a comfortable seat, comfortable place. It's all yours, just where you belong. It's your seat. Have a posture that's alert, but comfortable. And find something to focus on. And really the most effective way is to focus on your breath, your in-breath or your out-breath. And we're just going to focus on that. And every time your thoughts run away, and thoughts are like a galloping horse, they just want to take off. And your object is not to stop them, but just to control them a little bit by your breath, coming back to the breath every time. And when you have to come back, that's actually like strengthening a muscle. It really reminds you, and it reminds your thought pattern in your mind to slow down and come back. So find that focus point. And begin. Just bring your thoughts back to your breath, just gently come back to the breath. In the last minute, see if you can bring some extra focus to your breath. Sometimes it helps to count. Count to 2, count to 6, however you can, how far you can get. Bring it back to the breath. Oh, you just started the day off with a gift to yourself and a gift to everybody in the room. Meditation's always stronger if you can do it with other people. Thanks for coming.
Can we get some love here? He makes that look so effortless, right? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Is the choir coming up here right now? Come on up here, choir. While I'm talking, you can come on up. Where I'm going to just do a very quick welcome. So why I am standing here instead of there is because, as you can see, am I better lit here? So we love our online community, welcome online community, and they were getting tired of the shadows under everybody's faces. So we are back up here on the platform so that the lighting works better for the people who are watching from home. So welcome, everyone. It is so good to see everybody. I'm Reverend DeeAnn Morency. I'm the senior minister here at Unity in Marin. I still get a thrill out of saying that, I just have to say. As you can see behind me, decked out in their gorgeous teals, today is Choir Sunday, so we're going to be blessed with the choir. I wanted to just welcome everyone here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're returning after perhaps a hiatus, welcome. We are a community that is grounded in love, that is committed to being a beneficial presence on the planet, that we are here to demonstrate and to live into the wholeness, the divinity that we truly are. And so we're a healing ministry. We're a ministry that believes that we are here always to grow and evolve and to show up as our most amazing, radiant self. And we get to do that together in community. And there's so much strength when we show up together. We are exponentially more powerful. So we do the mask mandates. We're following county mask guidelines. So if you're vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask. It's your choice if you would like to wear a mask. If you are unvaccinated, we do ask that you wear a mask. We're keeping our community safe, depending on whatever levels of systems that people might have, that we are holding that sacred container for everybody. And as you can see, the choir is ready to go. So I'm going to turn it over to our fabulous musical director, Cindy Acker.
Good morning. We're going to sing a song called Heal the World, which you probably know. What you may not know is that it was inspired to bring humanity to a place where they own and create their own space of peace. It was a prompt that created the Heal the World Foundation, which airlifted 46 tons of supplies to Sarajevo, instituted drug and alcohol abuse education, provided millions of dollars to disadvantaged children, including liver transplants for children in Hungary. And so I invite you to lean in to the words of the song, Heal the World.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. This place could be brighter than tomorrow.
And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry.
In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow.
There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space to make a better place.
conceived in reveals a joyful face, and the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then why do we keep doubting life and questioning our role? Though it's plain to see this world is heavenly, we God's love.
We could fly so high that our spirits never die.
In my heart, I feel that we all are brothers. See the nations turn their swords into plowshares.
We could really get there if you cared enough for the living. Make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me.
There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me.
If we just keep trying, we can make a place for the living, make a better world for you and for me. You and for me. Heal the world.
So you can stay up here. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay. I'm not going to talk for too long. I promise. Not right now, at least. I just want to honor the choir and Dr. Cindy Acker. They found a way throughout COVID to actually keep singing, right? There are so many spiritual communities that as we come back online are having to build from scratch things that went into total hiatus. And the choir and what Cindy did, where'd she go? There she is. You moved on me. And what Cindy did was Herculean, right? Herculean. Just try to imagine singing in harmony on Zoom together. And it will give you a sense of the commitment and the willingness to keep showing up again and again and again. So can we just give the choir and Cindy some love, please? Yeah. So, and that song really does exemplify what we believe and what we know, that we're here to make this world a better place for ourselves, a better place for all who are around us. And that's our mission. That's what we're here to be and to do. And we have regularly a flower dedication, and the flowers are hidden at the moment. Oh, we're going to part ways so that the flowers can be seen. They were put together by Carolyn Gauthier. And our flower dedication is in celebration of Kevin and her and dad, Lynn's dad, right? Yeah, okay. I was like, wait a minute. And their birthdays, which are tomorrow. Yes? So can we all celebrate and love the Virgos in our life? Right? Where would we be without the Virgos in our life? Putting everything in order for us, right? So thank you so much, Lynn. Happy birthday to you guys. We also have hospitality. If you want to sponsor some of the pieces that anchor hospitality, you can see Charcel after service. We're moving into a potluck hospitality, and that's going to be starting next week. So just know that everyone's welcome to bring a dish whenever you want. Pick it up at Safeway on your way in, right? It doesn't have to be huge amounts of stress, but just bringing something for folks to share so that we can come together. Communities that eat together thrive together. So that's what we're stepping into here. If you haven't been around for a while, we do have text in church. And if you're part of it already, that means that you're getting my weekly texts that just remind you. They let you know if there's something really amazing happening. So you can, if you're new, text WELCOME to 415-991-7111. Or if you're part of it already, just text LOOP, and that lets me know who's there. You can reply to me in those texts, and I will see them, and I will respond to them. So just know that that is a way that you can communicate with me. We also have a time set aside on the first and third Sundays of every month at 1 o'clock for our virtual community and for anyone who attends in person who wants to continue the dialogue and conversation around whatever is emerging during service on Sundays. It's at 1 o'clock on Zoom, and it's an opportunity to connect and inquire and to be present with each other. So you can find the links for that on our live stream page. It'll say virtual courtyard. And you can click that link, 1 o'clock on the first and third Sundays of every month. So I'm going to invite the choir is going to sing us into another song, and from there we're going to step into our opening prayer.
Lily of the valley, let your sweet aroma fill my life. Rose of Sharon, show me how to live in beauty in God's sight. You are cherished of 10,000. Make me a reflection of your light. Day star, shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the night. Lead me, God, upon anywhere you open up the door. Let me know your wisdom. Show me things I've never seen before. 'Cause God, I wanna be your witness. in your eyes. Ooh, dear star, shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the night. Lead me, God, oh Lord, and when you open up, you open up the door. Let me know your wisdom. Show me things I've never seen before. I want to be your witness. 'Cause you can take what's wrong, and I know that we will make it right. Please don't shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the night. Lead me, God, I'll follow. And when you open up the door. Let me know your wisdom. Show me things I've never seen before. 'Cause God, I wanna be your witness. 'Cause you can take what's wrong and you make it right. Please don't shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the night. Please don't shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the night. Please don't shine down on me. Let your love shine through me in the
So I'm going to invite the prayer box to come forward. Does this set us up for the prayer field? Wendy, you can just set it right over there, and then you can just come join. I'm going to also invite all the prayer chaplains, Maritai, anyone who is someone who holds the high watch in your consciousness. If you'd like to rise and encircle the community, you can just stand right there, Wendy. Hold the community. Thank you. So we just breathe into that space that is this opening that music created. And we take this understanding of day star shining in the night. And we know that it's right here. Can you feel it? Can you feel it right here? So we open the heart even more. We quiet the mind. As we welcome the awareness of the light that we are. The light that is everywhere present, palpably present, available, tangible. And as we breathe and we are breathed, we recognize love, joy, compassion are our true nature and our true name. We know that we are the shining light, even in the seeming darkness. So whatever it is that we're carrying in our hearts, whatever it is that in this moment may seem hard or challenging, we just allow ourselves to offer it up into this sacred container of love and light that we are building and anchoring for ourselves, for the world. How good it is to know that where we say yes, the way is made. So I see and I know that wholeness is available wherever wholeness is needed. I see and I know that grace is available right now. Abundance is available, the health, the vitality, the overflow that is life itself. I know that it is palpably present in every form, function, dimension of being of each person here, of those who are watching remotely. And I know that as we say yes to that we create that in the world, in time and in space. So I see healing happening. I see compassion present. I see gentleness of the heart. And I see that overflowing out of this space that we are making out into the world, just enveloping this planet. Peace is right now. Joy is right now. Love is right now. For we are the day star, shining brightly, shining over each other and shining through ourselves. How grateful I am for this opportunity to be still and know. How grateful I am to know I am, you are, we are. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
That woke me up. Anyway, thank you for that beautiful prayer, Reverend DeeAnn. My name's Gabe Paulson, and I feel just honored to share this Sunday with you as your platform assistant. And it's really just wonderful to see the house filling up here and to welcome those of you online who are wherever you are in the world, joining us today to celebrate, to heal, to be together. We are an inclusive community, and we are a community of prayer. And we try to offer as many ways as possible to drop into prayer whenever you need. And so on the screen, there are just a few of these. For example, if you want, you can here in the sanctuary meet with anybody or the chaplains and do a prayer together. Or you can visit our Unity Marin website and submit prayers. Or you can call, and anytime we really try to remind ourselves and each other that prayer is our foundation. And some of you who've just joined, or maybe you're new here, or even if you've been here for 10 years like I have, you wonder, what are we doing here? What are our principles? So we try to recite for a minute or so our mission and our core principles. So if you can repeat after me the mission statement up there. We are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love, support for each other in living an awakened and enlightened life. And how do we do that? How do we express love and be awakened and live an enlightened life? We have our three principles. So let's read these together too. We connect the Spirit, inspiring each other, the community, and the world. We grow consciousness through education, healing, and prayer, and we serve the Spirit community and the world with love, joy, and a sense of adventure. We are a fun bunch. Yes, Carolyn, please come up.
Okay, this is the last week we're going to sing this song because Reverend DeeAnn is finishing up her talks on this amazing program. So will you please stand? And I know a lot of you know it, so please sing it with me. Who have I come here to be? And how do I reveal the truth inside where God resides so I can begin to heal? Who have you come here to be? And how do you reveal the truth inside where God resides so you can begin to heal? Who have we come here to be? And how do we reveal the truth inside where God resides so we can begin to heal? Who have you come here to be?
Thank you, Carolyn. And would Anne Pearl please come up to do our inspirational reading and our meditation?
Put it up here. That's it. And it's right here.
Good morning, my family. So nice to see all of you here. It's now time for inspirational reading. A time, I think I see better without my glasses, a time to let these words become part of your morning reflection, your morning meditation or prayer. I invite you in this moment to take a deep breath and to pause, to close your eyes if you wish. I invite you to let these words become your words. The word for today is wholeness. And the affirmation for today is, I accept wholeness as the divine blueprint of my being. Wholeness is the divine design of my being. When I align with this truth, I invigorate wholeness in every cell and atom, every thought, and every belief. Myrtle Fillmore wrote, God is the one perfect life flowing through me. God is the only reality of us. All else is but a shadow. I focus my awareness on patterns or beliefs that are seeking to be healed. Knowing wholeness is seeking to express as my life more powerfully. I bring negative self-talk, doubt, and unmet needs out of the shadow and release them through the light of the transformation. As I embrace my shadow, I lift my consciousness to a new expectancy of wholeness. I anchor who I have come here to be with words of truth, love, and gratitude. My whole being, body, mind, and spirit responds to divine life. I am renewed. I am whole. Today I accept wholeness as the divine blueprint of my being. And now let us take this into a time of silence.
So I shocked the choir this morning because the song that we're singing, I Believe I Can Fly, when I practice and I tend to move my body, we've been flying like birds. However, the song was actually created because of a request of Michael Jordan, who asked Robert Kelly to come and create a song for him. And they were at a basketball game, and can you imagine, I Believe I Can Fly? It ranked 406 out of the 500 songs of all time. It ranked Best Male R&B Performance, Best R&B Song, Best Song for Visual Media. And I can only guess that it's because the music reveals how much we have this inner desire to do exactly that. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to hold. And so think about that as you hear, I Believe I Can Fly.
I used to think that I could not go on, and life was nothing but an awful song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arm. If I can see it, then I can be, then I can do it. If I believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. Singing right through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. See, I was on the verge of breaking down. Sometimes the silence speaks so loud. There are miracles in life I must achieve. But first I know it starts inside of me. If I can see it, then I can do it. Then I can do it. If I just believe it, if I believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Think about it every night and day. Spread
Oh, I believe I can fly. Do you believe you can fly? We can see it, we can be it, we can do it, we can believe it, we can do it. It really aligns with what we believe in our unity principles, yes? So for the past month, we have been doing a series on the shadow. So if you're just showing up today, there's 3 other talks that you can check out online that are leading up in some ways to today's talk. And it's all been aligned with the quantum living program that a lot of people in this community have been engaged in. And we had our last class yesterday morning. And I just want to start by saying how amazing it is to be part of a community that is willing to step out in that way. As I said at my opening, we're a healing community. Unity started as a healing movement. It's grounded and anchored in the understanding of healing. And while it was initially perhaps a physical healing movement, that has evolved and shifted to be a much larger container. So that we do absolutely support physical healing, but what we are also engaged in is in our emotional and spiritual healing as well. And that piece can be a little scary sometimes, to actually step into the places that might not necessarily feel so whole. And so we've been looking at the shadow, what Carl Jung would call the parts of ourselves that we have disowned. The parts of ourselves that we have decided, I don't want to be that, because it makes us too uncomfortable to acknowledge that we are that. Because guess what? As Walt Whitman said, we contain multitudes. There is nothing that you are not. So whatever it is that you think you're trying not to be, guess what? You actually are that too. It's at least available to you. It's at least possible for you. And so because it makes us so uncomfortable to sit with some of the things that we don't want to be, we project it out into the world instead. And the challenge in that is that, guess what? We're saying, oh, I'm not that. And then we're projecting it out in the world, so then what happens? All we do is experience it around us in the world. It's all we experience. And you guys know this, the same kind of people showing up in your world. Same kind of interactions that are always so irritating. And here they are again, and their faces change, but the behaviors and the energy is the same. Can anybody in here relate? Whew, right? And what we know and teach here in Unity is that it's really not about them. Oh, take a breath. It's not about them. It's really about us. It's really about how we are in our own picture all the time. And so we talk about how all perception is misperception because we can't get ourselves out of the frame. We can't get our own understanding out of the frame. Everything that we are looking at, everything that we are experiencing has been filtered down by what it is that we're looking for. And if what we're looking for is good and grace and compassion and love, guess what? That's what we see. That's what we experience. But what we're looking for is all the ways that the world is a mess and it's challenged and it's hard, then guess what we're going to experience? So that piece is ours. We get to stand in that. We get to stand in the fact that we have the spiritual authority to choose and decide how we are going to experience something. Now, this does not mean that horrible things are still not going to happen in your life. We call that magical thinking. I talked about that briefly a couple weeks ago, where we think if I pray hard enough and if I live a good life and if I just do everything I was told and if I'm a good girl, that nothing bad will actually happen to me. What we know in Unity is that life is happening, change is happening. And what if we can embrace the fact that it is happening for us? It is actually happening for our growth. It's happening for our advancement. It's happening for us to be able to grow into something larger than we are. And to have I think at this point, there's over 70 people in this community who have done the shadow work with me, the quantum living process with me. Think about what that means for the community as a whole. There are 70 people who understand what it means to look at their own stuff. There are 70 people in this community who are saying, oh, I want to make it about you, but actually, it's really about me. Let me do my work. Let me heal the wounds that are going on inside of me. The entire community gets up-leveled in that process. And not just this community. The work we're doing with this kind of work is for the entire planet. I was sharing yesterday in class that, you know how sometimes when you're in the midst of navigating something and it just feels so hard? Like it feels harder than it should. It feels as if the weight of the world is literally on your shoulders as you're trying to move something through yourself. Has anybody ever experienced that? And that is because on some level, it is. Collective consciousness exists. The wholeness of who we are exists. And so the healing work that you might be engaged in for yourself personally is not just for you personally. You are doing that work for everyone on the planet who has experienced that level of trauma or that level of hurt or that level of disillusionment. Because we are not separate. So in those moments when it feels that hard, just take a breath. My mantra for this past month has been compassion, compassion, compassion. And you just have compassion for yourself, and you have compassion for everyone else on the planet who is stuck in this false belief the same way you are. But that you are willing to do the work, and you're not just doing it for yourself. This teaching sometimes can become very navel-gazing, shall we call it? Where we get very internal. And I am here to remind you again and again and again that nothing that you are doing here just for you is just for you. It is for the entire world. And when we embrace that, right, when we actually engage in that consciously, it exponentially expands the healing field. It exponentially activates something in this world. So this is the work that I've signed up for. And I have just been so grateful and honored and in awe and inspired that so many other people in this community are saying yes to this type of work. Because let me be clear, it's not that easy. It's really not to take a look at the parts of yourselves that you don't want to be. So who we actually are is this. Right? This is who we are. We are radiant light. We are the day star that the choir sang about. We are the wholeness that is everywhere, that is available and accessible to us. We are that divine beingness. It feels good, doesn't it? But all too often, this is who we think we are. We get fixated on what we think is wrong or broken or not working. Some experience that we had in our youth and our childhood as an adult yesterday that makes us feel broken and not enough. And there's a dissonance there, isn't there? And that dissonance makes us uncomfortable. So we try to avoid the fact that we think we're broken. We try to pretend that that's not true, and that's that projection piece. So, oh no, I'm not broken, but the world is broken. We send it out there in the world around us. So Charles Fillmore talked about healing being to make whole. Wholeness is a divine quality in Unity's teaching. It's an absolute. It is something that there is no opposite to. There is no opposite to wholeness. It is. It's like oneness. There's no opposite to oneness in the absolute. In the relative world, we can chop things up into pieces. But in the absolute, there is only wholeness. And that is what healing is. Healing is the process of, it's not so much, look at me, I'm going to correct Charles Fillmore. So it's not so much that we are making ourselves whole. It's that we are remembering that we are whole. Right? That's what's happening, is that we are whole. It's in our innate beingness. So we don't have to make ourselves anything, but we have to remind ourselves again and again and again, oh boy, and again and again and again. And that's our practice. That's our practice. That's what spiritual practice is for, so that we keep building that muscle. Think of meditation and prayer and being here in community and taking classes as your spiritual gym. You are building those muscles. And if you don't go to the gym, what happens? Scary sometimes what happens, right? COVID reminded us what happens when we don't go to the gym. So Carl Jung he says that the shadow, right, the parts that we have disowned, the parts that we think are broken and we don't want to own, that part of us is the block that separates us most effectively from our divinity. That is the obstacle to our understanding the truth of who we actually are. And everything that we have been looking at over this past month around shadow has been to acknowledge that healing has to begin with the places where we think we're broken. We can't avoid it. That would be a spiritual bypass. We can't just go around the parts of ourselves that hurt or sore or, right? We don't bypass around things. My teacher, Paul Hasselbeck, will say that's like putting, you do these lovely affirmations. I am beauty, I am beauty, I am beauty. And what you actually feel inside is I am a horrible, disgusting person and I don't want anybody to know. And when we do that, it's like putting frosting on a moldy cake, right? But there's no point. Like we can say that affirmation, I am beauty, I am beauty, I am beauty, till we're blue in the face, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't impact us unless we are willing to actually become present to the part of us that doesn't feel that we are beauty. We have to be brave enough. We have to have courage enough to actually touch those spaces. And the thing that the quantum living teaches us, and what's so beautiful about it, is that we start to recognize when we're willing to step into it, that it's not as scary as we actually think it is. That on the other side of our fear and our resistance and, I don't want to touch that, on the other side is freedom. On the other side is ease. On the other side is grace. On the other side is the wholeness that you actually are. So a lot of what the quantum living is focused on is the quantum understanding of the world. And we use that consciously in the quantum living process. So quantum essentially is saying, in the most barest bone way, that everything is both a particle and a wave. It can be either one. It can be a particle or it can be a wave. Or wait a minute, it can be a particle again. Oh wait, it can be a wave again. So what the quantum living process does, and what we're all invited into, is this past week we were looking at how our past was against us. How we thought that the things in our past are actually against us, even now, in this day, in this moment. And when we apply quantum understanding to our memories, to our past, we have a choice. If everything is a particle and a wave, what happens if we take the fixed understanding that we have about who we are or what happened to us or all of that? What if we take the fixedness of it, the particleness of it, and we allow it to become a wave again? What happens if we release it into the realm of infinite potential and infinite possibility? What happens if we make space for something else? I shared a couple weeks ago that there's over 200 billion bits of data that your brain processes in a second, right? Actually, that's incorrect. There's over 200 billion bits of data available in every second. That's it. And out of that, do you know how much your brain actually processes? 200,000. 200,000, like 0.1%, 0.01% of what is available to us is what we actually process. So what if we take the particle, what it is we think we saw, what it is that we are so attached to, and we allow it to become the wave? And we open ourselves up to those other, somebody do the math for me, whatever, 200 billion minus 200,000 bits of data, right? What happens if we open ourselves up in that way? That's the invitation that we are continually being invited into, is that all perception is misperception. We can't get out of our own picture. Can we grow our understanding of who we think we are? All of it so that we can live a more fulfilled, joyful, productive, anchored, loving life. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. Because people say to me, but it's not true. You're trying to shift something. It's not true. And I'm like, but you're miserable, right? It's not serving you to be able to show up in the world as love so that you can actually be a beneficial presence for the planet that makes sure that something like whatever happened to you never happens to anybody else. If we are so fixed in our story that we can't heal ourselves, if we're not going to allow our own healing, then how can we ever imagine that we can heal the world? Because we're not separate from it. This is where the inner work becomes the outer work, and the outer work is the inner work. There's no separation. So one of the things that I love, it's a great visual representation of what I'm speaking to, is the Japanese art of kintsugi, right? And what it means is the art of embracing wholeness within brokenness. So we can acknowledge that there are parts of ourselves that are hurt. We can acknowledge that there are parts of ourselves that feel less than and broken. But in that, there is always wholeness. Even in what you think is your brokenness, there is wholeness. So they start off with a piece of ceramic that might look like this. And they take this brokenness and they transform it into this, or this, or this. Gold is used to mend the seeming brokenness. And it has become an art form of its own. Yes, you can see in some ways that this is actually more beautiful than the quote-unquote perfection of what something might have been originally. There is something in the brokenness that is, this is our work. We are saying those pieces of ourselves that we feel are broken, we are being invited to bring those back together and to heal our sense of not enoughness, our sense of brokenness, to be the gold, to be the light, to be the adhesion of truth that allows us to step forward even more radiant than we were before, even more beautiful than we were before. We somehow think that the things that broke us, quote unquote, make us less than. But what if those things actually make us the most beautiful, authentic, radiant being that we are? I shared last week how I broke my back when I was 26. And I shared that moment of looking down that hill in Golden Gate Park and thinking, wow, that's really steep. And then I did it anyway. And I broke my back at the bottom of that hill. And how long did I stand with myself again and again at the top of that hill, saying, in that moment of, wow, that's really steep, what if I had just stepped back? I have gotten to the place in my life, honestly, where if I could whisper in my 26-year-old ear, I would say, go. Go for it. Because that moment created who I am today. That moment created an opening in my understanding of myself. And let me tell you, it was not easy. 7 years of chronic pain. I mean, it was not easy. But I am who I am, and I am so grateful for who I am. If I went back and changed that moment, I have no idea who I would be. That launched me on a spiritual path. That experience brought me into meditation because I was trying to manage the pain. That experience transformed and shifted my trajectory of my life. I wouldn't want that to not be my life. So can I embrace that place of brokenness? Can I fill that with gold and with light and with love? Myrtle Fillmore says, we accept the God-given perfection. We wave aside the past mistakes. If only it was that easy, right? We wave aside the past mistakes and the untrue suggestions and fix undivided attention upon the inner pattern of perfection. That is what we're invited into again and again and again. To let go of the story, to let go of the myth of not enoughness, of how hard it all is, and to embrace the inner perfection that is available to us. And while it may not be as easy as just waving it away, there are practices that we can step into that support our being able to move past that. Affirmative prayer is really powerful in that way too. To accept our God-given perfection so that we can be this pot. We can be the sense of brokenness doesn't go away, right? And yet the brokenness is part of the wholeness. So we don't have to leave any of ourself out of this equation. There is no part of yourself that gets to be set in the side or is a bad part of yourself that has to go to the corner. There is room for every part of who you are to be called forth into an understanding of wholeness. Because there's a sacred beauty in the fractures of our life. And if we can appreciate them and honor them and truly be grateful for them, that is when our life is transformed. So how do we do this? The first thing is that we have to recognize that there's a need for healing. I know it's hard sometimes in spiritual communities, particularly in a community like this, where people have been doing this for a really long time, where you have been working the work, where you have been anchoring principle, where you have been doing the prayer work, where you have been showing up. And in that space, though, there is always going to be room for more healing, because there's that part of us that feels separate, whatever that part is. That's what we're inviting into healing. So first, recognizing that there is a need for healing. And then, as we do in the quantum living process, really honor your feelings. Really honor and name and become conscious of the feelings that are alive for you. And this is a really big piece of the quantum living process, is building our emotional intelligence, building our capacity to be able to name and to understand what is happening in any given moment. And we all have different levels and skill sets of awareness around our emotional life, but we can grow that emotional life. So they've done studies that have shown, so they talk about intelligence quotient, which is your IQ. They talk about spiritual intelligence, right? Your SQ. And then there's your emotional intelligence, your EQ. And what they have discovered is that EQ hits a certain level and it'll level off in adulthood somewhere. And the thing that will allow your EQ to grow is if you grow your spiritual intelligence. And as you grow your spiritual intelligence, your emotional intelligence rises with it. That's what I'm inviting all of us into. Because if we can become more conscious of whatever those feelings are, then we're not afraid of them anymore. If we can honor those feelings, we don't have to be afraid of those feelings. And then the big one, practicing compassion, 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 compassion. Right? when you feel stuck, when you feel frustrated, whatever is alive for you, can you bring compassion to yourself? When you let yourself down, right? I had an interaction with somebody this week, and my reactivity was probably like a 1 or a 2 on a 10. Like, it wasn't that big. But the response to the email that I sent them, so my signature in my email is love, light, and abundant love, light, and love, something like that, right? I can't even remember my own signature. Thank you, abundant love, light, and laughter. And we're going to laugh at that, right? And they sent back an email saying, well, that was a lot of love, light, and laughter. And I thought, oh, they totally called me out. How awesome is that, right? Because in that moment, I had an opportunity to really be present with where I was not necessarily showing up as my best, my shiniest self, and how was I going to hold myself in that? Was I going to meet myself in compassion? Or was I going to beat myself up? Was I going to start to judge myself? Oh, not very ministerial, DeeAnn. You know? And I could feel myself sort of teetering on that, like, I told you I got that thing in my stomach. I got that thing in my stomach. And then I just sat down. I did a worksheet. I was like, I am bringing compassion to myself. How does this shift if I'm actually okay with the fact that I'm not perfect? How does this shift if I'm okay with understanding that this is an opportunity for me to heal something? So I bring it to a worksheet, and of course, the beauty of the quantum living process is it had nothing to do with the trigger. Nothing to do with the trigger at all. It had to do with something else going on inside of me from when I was 13 years old. That's what got triggered. And I got to meet that, and I got to greet that, and I got to walk myself, my 13-year-old self, into the present day, and I got to do another level of healing. Do you think it's the first time I've talked to my 13-year-old? No. But I got to do another level of healing within myself. So practicing compassion. But if I hadn't been able to activate the compassion, can you see how I would have been on a downward spiral? I would have been buying into who I am not. I am not enough. I am not compassionate enough. I am not good enough. I'm not ministerial enough. All the stories. And instead, I met myself with compassion and truly am grateful that I got called out. This is what we want to be able to step into, right? This kind of like honest awareness about who we are. Because ultimately, we need to trust our innate perfection. We need to trust that there is that within us that is whole, even in the midst of the brokenness. There is that within us that is absolutely whole and perfect. Just take a breath with me on that. Because that's who we truly are. That's who we have come here to be. All the rest is shadow, as Anne read in the inspirational reading. Anything that is not that is shadow. It is not the truth of who you are. And then the last piece is to let truth, the truth of who you are, fill in those cracks. To let that truth, it's an anointing in some ways, so that those places that feel fractured and broken can actually be whole. They can actually be what they truly are. That's the invitation that we are all being invited into. Myrtle Fillmore says, healing is the stirring up within you of the God qualities which have lain dormant or which have been misused or neglected. That is what we heal. That's our gold. The God qualities that we are: love, light, joy, grace, beauty, harmony, radiance. That is what we seal those cracks up with. And as we seal those cracks up, we move from this understanding of ourselves to this understanding of ourselves. And this is how we change the world. The light that we are radiating outward, making a difference, not just for ourselves, but for everybody who is around us. So I want to invite you into some affirmations here. I am willing to recognize my need for healing. I honor my feelings. I practice compassion. I practice compassion right now. I trust my inner perfection. And I let truth fill in the cracks. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
We're going to sing a song called I'm Not Afraid Anymore. And it was created by gospel composer Carlton Burgess. And where it came from is the idea that we have the strength to live in and through what might seem uncomfortable, a little bit of what DeeAnn was talking about, because we can see ourselves through it. And so we can then say, I'm not afraid to look at it, be it, and make it through to the other side. And so that's what we're going to sing about. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm going to say one more thing. Yeah. I'm going to say one more thing, which is that the choir worked this song because the verse is not so easy to sing, and we needed to not be afraid anymore.
What can separate me from the love of God? Nothing can separate me from the love of God. Can fear separate me from the love of God? No, nothing can separate me from the love of God. I'm not afraid of the darkness, who shall I fear from the glory? What shall we say to these things? What shall we say to these things? I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. What can separate me from the love of God? Nothing can separate me from the love of God. Can fear separate me? No, no, from the love of God. No, nothing can separate me
Wow. Thank you, choir. Thank you. And thank you, Cindy and Jason playing on the piano back there. Let's give them a hand. And also, we seldom say it, but thank you to the tech crew up there, Connect and the people. Yeah. We have a lot of talent in the house, and it's just wonderful. And Reverend DeeAnn, I really want to thank you for that talk. That was, I think, really the message of authenticity. We said we're a community committed to authenticity, and I think that's a lot of what was said. And I found the images of the statues so beautiful. There were just so many, Japanese kintsugi. And it made me think once, someone really close to me once said, Gabe, I don't love you for your strength. I love you for your vulnerability. And I think that's part of what that is. You've given us a lot of metaphors, and you've given us your own passion and open-heartedness to show healing through a non-dual kind of way of authenticity. So thank you for that message. It's beautiful. And thank you all for coming today, and for those of you online, again, it's a service with a lot of parts, and here we are coming in for a landing. And we are a community that is a community of giving and receiving. And what that means really is that we're self-funded, and if you're here, you're receiving and you're giving, and part of that is also doing that financially. So this part of the service is where we have some of the ushers come around with a basket, and it's just a reminder that really what we do is we share. And I'd like to say why I give, and as we come around, and if you're so inclined, donate, and some of you can do this online. Just to be authentic with you, I think I give because it feels good. And I think that it feels good. My dad passed away 6 months ago. And I think one of the lessons for me was that what you give away, nothing can take, not even death. So by giving, you really are expanding yourself, and you're also bringing other people into your life. And so it feels good. And it's one of the principles of unity. It's one of those unifications of unity, that giving equals receiving. And, it sounds like a cliche, but try it. I'm sure you all do. I'm sure you're doing it already. I'm preaching to the choir, wherever they are. And so how do we donate? So there's several ways. Probably, if you are, like most of us with a cell phone, you could simply do the texting that's up there. So 84321, and that's a quick way to do it. And another is we've been starting more and more QR codes. Since COVID and going into restaurants where things are touchless, you can just take your cell phone and hover. You don't have to do anything, and it pretty much is a shortcut. It's like a hyperlink that takes you right to the donate page, and you can go to there. Or of course, you could just go to unitymarin.org/donate. Or if you want to get out a letter and a stamp, you can mail it in. So, but whatever you do, also remember it's not just money. We give with our love, we give with our volunteer time, and look at the choir. These are all volunteers, and the flowers, and it's really a way of shining that light. So please, do what feels right in your heart. And if Caroline can come up, I think we have this Just As You Give song.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden reef. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. we give from love. Love gives it back.
Thank you. And again, we'd like to welcome everybody. And if you're new here, or for the first time, we have some welcoming things for you. And also, Reverend DeeAnn, after the service, wants to meet and greet all of us, new or not, as you exit there. And in the courtyard, of course, is a time for more community. We have food, we have love, we have laughter. Please, go that way. And if you're online, come on down sometime. It's a beautiful campus. The weather's still nice. Please join us. But it's so glad to see you all here. And we're starting the potluck hospitality, as Reverend DeeAnn said earlier, and I love that saying, people who eat together thrive together. So bring your food. Again, it's not hard, whatever. It's more the intention. It's more the participation and being here. And now that we're out of COVID, it's just so great to be with people in person. And please do come. It's very just very enriching. As part of our transition, we had Reverend Tim Lytle, and now we're using Reverend Cynthia Vermillion-Foster to help us really take this opportunity where change can be growth. So if you can, join one of the listening circles. And why? I mean, we really, really want to hear from you. And as someone who is formerly active on the board, and I actually was one of the people who hired Reverend Tim, I just love the way this community is going. I just love what I'm seeing, and all of you here. And I think it's just a chance to express your voice, make this a really democratic, inclusive, and loving place. So you can sign up today as a listening circle, Tuesday's listening circle. If you're interested, please talk to Reverend DeeAnn or myself, and we'd love to get your input. Also, we have the book studies, and guess how many book studies we have? How many groups? Just take a guess. 10. We have 10. That is a lot. Whoever said that, I will give you a Unity mug. So it's the book studies are one of the real cores, like the prayer. And it's a chance to be with a small group of people, to really dig deeply into a topic, to let it get personal, to bring your stories and so forth. So they begin the week of September 11th, and the signups, like everything I'm saying up here, you can always go online or you can go in the hallway there. But the main thing is just consider it, and please join. It's wonderful. And then I'm wondering if Shay can come up and tell us a little bit about the happy mindset. Welcome, Shay.
Happy Sunday, church. I have 4 words for you. Free. What is the word? Free. The. Beautiful. Dots. Free the beautiful what? You know how the yin yang symbol, there's those dots? And one's the light dot and one's the dark dot? They're both beautiful. Yes? And remember I told you I have ADD, right? And so my brain has a hard time remembering things. So I like mnemonics. Free starts with what letter? F. The? T. What's it, beautiful? B, and then dots. D. Yeah, D, right? So here we go. 4 simple steps to getting unstuck and feeling happier immediately. The first letter was what? F. Feeling. What was the second letter? T. Thinking. What's the third letter? B. Being. And the fourth one? D. Doing. Join me.
All right. Thank you, Shay. All right. And then Reverend DeeAnn, can you tell us a little bit about World Day of Prayer?
Sure. So every year, every Unity community across the globe is going to be celebrating Unity's World Day of Prayer. And it's going to begin Wednesday, September 7th at 7 p.m. We're going to start with a service here. It continues for 24 hours through till Thursday, early Thursday evening. And we're going to have a special service here with Christine Toulis, who is going to be the harpist. We have a labyrinth, which we're going to be laying out in the sanctuary so that people can walk the labyrinth. The sanctuary on Thursday will be open all day. So anybody who wants to come, who wants to walk the labyrinth, who wants to spend some time in the silence, we'll have some music going in the background, but who wants to spend some time just sitting in contemplation and being present, is welcome to drop in on the 8th. If you are interested in being one of the folks who sits vigil during that time, please talk to one of the prayer chaplains and let them know, and they'll hook you up. And we have in your bulletins today, there are World Day of Prayer prayer request forms. So you can fill those out. The sky is the limit. You can fill them with lots and lots of things. You can fill the back of them with lots and lots of things. You can fill out 20 of them if you like. There is a special box in the lobby that's really pretty with like stencils, and it's cut out, and that's where all the World Day of Prayer requests are going to go. They will be held in consciousness. This year's theme is Hold in the High Watch. So that's what we're all going to do together. So please join us on Wednesday, September 7th, here in the sanctuary at 7 p.m. And then we will have this, the sanctuary will be open on Thursday for anybody who'd like to drop in and walk the labyrinth.
Great. Thank you, Reverend DeeAnn. I think we have another QR code reminder. So if any of you want to take out your cell phone, just do this. Take out your cell phone and go like that. And voila, you should be seeing the webpage come up. So this is just a good way to remind us. You know, I've once seen a T-shirt for evolution. You know, we started as amoeba and then dinosaur or something, and we're going to end up as two thumbs. You know, we're just going to be two thumbs. But it's really just a measure of convenience. So if you want to know what's going on, again, it's always in person here live, but we also, you know, have this convenience, so you can just go to our website. Would the chaplains please rise? So we have these lovely chaplains here, and I have to say this is really one of the cornerstones of our community. They're here to offer you prayer. If you're in the sanctuary right now, please come up to them and just introduce yourself after the service. If you have a joy you want to share or a sorrow you want to, you know, confide in, everything is confidential, and it really feels like a place of unconditional acceptance. So for your service, thank you, chaplain. And it looks like we already have the kiddos coming in. Please come in, Melissa and kids, and Reverend DeeAnn, could you say the blessing, please?
Wonderful how our youth and family program just continues to grow. So we have hi Burke, how you doing, cutie? He's looking for mama. So we have a blessing that we say. I'm going to invite everybody to stand up. We're going to open our hearts and extend our hands. This is a blessing that we offer to all of the children that are here right with us, but it's also a blessing that we offer to the child that we are. And it's a blessing that we offer to the children of the world. Just imagine if you had grown up hearing this. So let's know this together. You are God's perfect expression of divine light. We love you just the way you are. And so it is. Amen.
Great. Thank you. And let's say our prayer for protection. So if you can, let's just say it all together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. And let's sing our peace song together.
Walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy.